Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about something we all know too well: fear. Not the fear of loud noises or dark alleys, but the quieter kind. The fear that sits deep inside your chest when you think of changing your life, stepping outside the pattern. The fear of being different, the fear of failing, the fear of judgment. Now here's the curious part. Most of this fear, it doesn't come from the world around us. It comes from inside, from stories we were told, from rules we never questioned, from the quiet voice in our head whispering, "Don't. You might mess up. Stay where it's safe." And so we stay. We follow the script. Go to school, get the degree, take the safe job, buy the house, raise a family, retire. It's a beautiful story, yes, but here's the tragedy. Many people walk through that story feeling like strangers in their own lives. They wake up with a quiet ache, a sense that maybe, just maybe, this wasn't what they were meant for, but they stay because stepping out of line is scary. But let's ask something deeper. Where did this fear begin? From childhood, we are taught to conform, not out of cruelty, but out of safety. Be normal. Don't stand out too much. Play it safe. But here's the catch. When you grow up always trying to be what others expect, you forget how to be yourself. You become a well-behaved echo, not a true voice. And that, dear friends, is the true enemy within. Let me offer you a thought. Fear is not a force of nature. It's a habit of thought. It's not a storm or an earthquake. It's just a story you keep telling yourself. And the beautiful thing about stories is they can be rewritten. Let's say for a moment that you don't enjoy your job, and every morning your stomach knots up just thinking about it. You try to ignore it. You remind yourself it pays the bills. But slowly, quietly, this discomfort starts shaping your mood, your health, your relationships, your view of life. And you wonder, is this how it's always going to be? But that pain, that stress, it's not your enemy. It's your messenger. It's your soul knocking on the walls of your routine saying, "Hey, wake up. You're not where you're supposed to be." So what do? First, we understand this. Fear is natural. But letting fear drive your life, that's a choice. Conquering fear doesn't mean you'll never feel it. It means you won't bow to it. You won't let it chain you to a life that isn't yours. You see, this is a skill like any other. And like any skill, it requires practice. But it starts with one powerful decision: to no longer be ruled by the voice inside your head that says you can't. Now look around at the world. Turn on the TV, open the news. What do you see? Fear, chaos, despair. We are constantly bombarded with messages telling us the world is falling apart, that the economy is bad, that people are dangerous, that tomorrow might be worse than today. And maybe some of it is true, but here's the thing. You don't control the world. You never did. You don't control the market or the weather or other people's actions, but you do control how you live, how you love, how you respond. That's your power, and no headline can take that from you. You see, the problem isn't that life is hard. It's that we've been taught to believe it should always be easy. That discomfort means danger. That uncertainty means failure. But life, real life, is uncertain. It's messy. It's filled with detours and surprise endings. And that's what makes it beautiful. Imagine watching a movie where you knew everything that would happen. You'd fall asleep. And yet, we try to live that way, predictably, safely, inside the lines. But no great story was ever written that way. So let me ask you something. What would you do if fear wasn't in the room? What dream would you chase? What truth would you speak? What life would you build? The answer to that question, that's your path. And you already have what it takes to walk it. Not because you're fearless, but because you're ready to stop letting fear drive the car. So next time that voice inside whispers doubt, just smile and say, "Thank you for your concern, but I've got this now." You are not your thoughts, you are not your past, you are not the fears you've inherited. You are the awareness behind all of it. And the moment you remember that, you stop surviving and you start living. Fight the enemy within, not with violence, but with understanding, with awareness, with presence. And from that place of peace, go create the life that fear told you was impossible. Let me tell you something that might sound strange at first. You are both the hero and the villain of your life story. Yes, there are people who may challenge you. Life may give you obstacles, but the real battle, it's inside. It's between you and your fear. Now, fear is a fascinating thing. We tend to think of it as something bad. We say, "I want to get rid of fear." But let's not be too quick to judge. Fear, like every emotion, has a reason for being here. In the old days, long before cities, jobs, or traffic, our ancestors were walking barefoot through forests. If a tiger appeared, fear kicked in. That pounding heart, those sweaty palms, that sudden burst of energy, it all came from fear. And it saved lives. It kept the tribe alive. But here's the thing, that tiger isn't coming anymore. At least not in the form we're used to. You're not going to be eaten alive for missing a deadline. You won't die from speaking up in a meeting. And yet, your heart still races. You still hesitate. You still feel frozen. Why? Because your brain hasn't changed all that much. It still reacts as if everything is a life or death situation. It can't tell the difference between a real threat and an imagined one. The fear feels the same. And so we walk around afraid of failing, afraid of being seen, afraid of being laughed at, afraid of being left behind. And worst of all, we become afraid of ourselves, our thoughts, our potential, our power. But if we are to live fully, truly, beautifully, we must do something very simple. We must turn inward. You see, it's easy to fight enemies outside, but to face your own mind, that takes courage, real courage. Not the kind that charges into battle, but the kind that sits quietly and listens to the voice inside, even when it says, "I'm scared." Fear isn't here to destroy you. It's here to teach you. Like a strict teacher, it shows up when you're about to grow. It tells you, this matters. It points toward the edge of your comfort zone and whispers, this is where you need to go. So don't try to kill your fear. Get to know it. That's what Sun Tzu, the ancient Chinese strategist, meant when he said, know your enemy and know yourself, and you will not fear the result of 100 battles. But that's the key, isn't it? Knowing yourself. And how do we do that? Well, we ask. We ask ourselves gentle, honest questions. Not to judge, but to understand. Questions like, what am I good at? What drains my energy? What makes me feel alive? What do I really care about? And you don't need a psychology degree to do this. You just need a bit of quiet, a few minutes of stillness, maybe a notebook, maybe a walk under the trees. You ask and you listen. Don't overthink it. Don't look for perfect answers. That's not the point. The point is to start the conversation. Ask yourself, what makes me feel small? What makes me feel strong? What kind of life do I want to live? What kind of friend do I want to be? What am I running from? You'll notice something magical. As you begin to understand yourself, fear changes shape. it becomes less of a wall and more of a doorway, less of a prison, more of a teacher. And here's something beautiful. You don't have to do this all at once. Self-knowledge isn't a destination. It's a relationship, a lifelong one. It deepens with time, and the more you know yourself, the less afraid you become, because now you're not walking blindly. You're walking with awareness. So don't be afraid of fear. Respect it. Learn from it. Let it show you where the work is. You are not broken because you're scared. You are human. And your fear is simply a signal, a guidepost, pointing to the parts of you that are ready to grow. And the more you know yourself, the better you'll fight. Not just for survival, but for meaning, for purpose, for truth. Because in the end, you are both the warrior and the battlefield. You are both the question and the answer.